Scrapbookers, it's Katie Scott, and today is Wednesday, December 11th, but I will be scrapbooking Tuesday, December 10th, and usually I like to get everything done before I go to bed, but yesterday was a busy day. So I was lucky enough to be on the paper clipping roundtable, and if you don't know what that is, you can get there. Just go to iTunes, and if you search for scrapbooking, then you will get to the paper clipping roundtable. It's a podcast about scrapbooking, and I just adore it, and I've been listening for years. Let's see, if we search, there's one, it's just called paper clipping. That's not it. What you want is the paper clipping roundtable. And so it looks like it's about 10 down. I don't know why. It's not number one. Up there with the Digi Show, which is also a scrapbooking podcast. But this is what it looks like, the paper clipping roundtable. And so it's got these blue bars. And so I was on episode number 187, the okra, the fruitcake, and Elvis. And we recorded that yesterday. So that was part of what I did yesterday. I made a bunch of other album shares for my December daily, and then we did more exciting things. But one thing I want to say before I get started on today's scrapbooking adventure in December Daily World is I got a comment that said, you know, I think that your videos are so long. I don't have 38 minutes to watch. And for those folks, I would say you might want to find somebody who does more condensed videos. Some of my videos are shorter. I made one a couple days ago that was only 8 minutes, but typically I'm going between 15 to 50 minutes. And what I do is I just press play on my iPad and I just start. And so the pressure of time, like I don't want it to last all day either, but I don't pre-plan my December daily, and that's how I'm getting it done. So making these videos do give me the added pressure of time, but you'll see me start to finish. So I have a couple things. The first thing is I found this, my daughter made it, and it was just at the bottom of the stairs when I went down yesterday. So this is the album so far. It's an American Crafts album. It's 8x8, and she made this, it looks like, on December 10th, which is what I'm going to be scrapbooking about. I also have this piece of Venetian blind, or excuse me, vertical blind. So that needs to get in there somehow. So this will probably just go right here, and I think what I'm going to do is just fold it down. So see. And these are just, I've been using page protectors from American Crafts, but I was running low on them. So instead of ordering more, which I could do, but instead of ordering more, I just used basic, office supply page protectors and cut them down to size and then punched holes with my Crop-A-Dile. So there's the countdown to Christmas. That seems like, I just wish she would have scrunched this a little bit, but she didn't. So I think what I'm going to do is just, I don't know what to do. What I sort of want to do is, because I don't really want to crop it too much, I think what I'm going to do is just cut it down so that that 25 shows through. And I don't think she'll mind. What I did notice, I've shared my albums, like I brought all the December Daily, or the ones that I could find, because for some reason I can't find 2012. I think 2012 was a bit of a fail for me in the December Daily world. And I think it's because I went to a 6x6 page size, and I don't think that's enough space. So I think like the Simple Stories, and Lael Konkar was one of the guests on the paper clipping roundtable yesterday. She, Simple Stories has an album that is like 6x8, so it would be about this, like if you cut that part off, it would be, I'll show you, it would be the size of these 4 cards. So it would be the size of 4 Project Life type cards. So these are 3 by 4 cards. So it's 4 high, so that would be 4 plus 4 is 8, and then 3 plus 3 is 6. So it's the size of this. But I like the extra space, and I like it because I can do things like print out stories. And this was one of the things I talked about. This was one of my picks of the week on the Paper Clipping Roundtable. And this is just a printout of a story that I wrote about these pictures, and I used a thing called Story Swoop, and that's a product, a free product by Debbie Hodge, and the icon looks like this. And so the other really cool thing about having page protectors that are 8.5 by 11 is I can just fold this over, and it's got my little, like, this was the whole Story Swoop is a free, and it's free. You don't have to pay anything to use it. It's a free guide for writing notes from your photos. And so it helps you to take notes about your photos and then also write a story. And it's a really powerful tool. I thought that those pages, so I'm just going to slide this all the way in, and I think I'm just going to leave it just like that. And then there's the story and there's the pictures. But when I made this page on the 9th, I just slid those in, and then I was like, oh, the story is pretty self-evident. But it wasn't, so this is that process of writing the story. So, okay, so now we've got the countdown to Christmas, and that will go right here. And I think what I'll do, too, is maybe, I don't know. I'm just seeing how I can. So sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I will just use, I think I'm just going to use it like, I just sort of need a background piece of paper here. So I've got this, and it needs to be, I'm just cutting this down. It's going to go right there. So yeah, if you're looking, sorry, if you're looking for technically awesome videos, you have not arrived at the right place. I hate to tell you, but if you want somebody to talk about scrapbooking, and if you think about this more like your virtual chat, your virtual scrap buddy, somebody who isn't telling you everything what to do, but just wants to talk about scrapbooking while you're scrapbooking, then I may be a good fit for you. But if you're looking for like a concise, here's what you do to get to the end result, I'm probably not your best bet for a scrapbooking video person on YouTube. But that said, I think sometimes I make some really great videos, so I'm going to just try this. I want to be able to see that 20, but I want to see the 25. So I'm just kind of seeing if this works. I think that kind of works. And so I'm just going to tape this down, and I don't think I'm going to do too much embellishing of this page. And in my family, like, I guess I could write by Allison on this, and maybe I should, but my son doesn't really do things. Like, he's not usually leaving notes around the house like my daughter does. So maybe I'll add a little by Allison because because of what I said about this group of photos. I said, oh, we don't really need to write anything about that because those pictures are obvious. But you know what? They might be obvious now, but they're probably not going to be obvious in the future. And so in the future, when we look at these books, I think if I looked at these books, I would still know that was Allison, not Mac. But maybe somebody else looking at it might not know that. So one option would be just to put a little picture of her. And I just have some pictures handy. This seems like a good one. And it seems like it's going to cover up too much. Like, it almost seems like that one's too big. But I like the fact that she's writing. And I have some photos. I'm just looking right off to the side here. I have some photos of her from last Christmas. I don't really want to use those. What I'd really like to find is just a small picture of her. But it doesn't seem like I can put my hands on one quickly. Hold on, I'm just looking. I've got Halloween pictures. That's not going to work. Okay, so I got a couple more pictures of her. No, none of this will work. Okay, so this is my theory on December Daily and scrapbooking in general is and we talked about this on the paper clipping roundtable, is how can you be successful in your December Daily? And I think all of us said limiting your supplies is a good idea. So I think once you sit down or stand up to scrapbook, I used to be a stand-up scrapbooker, and now, unfortunately, it's more sitting down for me, which I'm not thrilled about. But so what I think I will do is cover up, like we all pretty much know the countdown to Christmas is gonna end on the 25th, and here's the 10th, and while I would like to include that, I could probably scooch this over. Let me see if I can do that. And so the other thing I recommend, which I didn't mention on the show, on the Paper Clipping Roundtable podcast, was that a really good idea is to, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, that's how lame my videos are. But the videos really do help me to keep on going and get my scrapbook pages done quickly because I feel like I want to finish for you. And so that way I don't spend all day long doing this. So I'm just going to put her picture right. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Adhesive. So you should know your adhesive. So I know that when I use the Scotch double-sided tape, I can still pick up something and move it around. Whereas if I need something very aggressive, I'll go for this one. So it's good to have a little arsenal of different adhesives and know what their properties are and how you can use them. I also have some glue sticks. I just have a lot of adhesives just right handy. The other thing that I use a lot that I love is this thing. It's ThermoWeb Sticky Dots, and this is really good for if you have like die cuts with uneven edges, so you can just, and maybe I'll use some of these embellishments on the page just to kind of show you what I mean. So there's little tiny dots of glue on this sticky stuff, so that when I pull up one of those embellishments, all that's going to come up is, the only adhesive that's going to come up are what's on the back of the die cuts. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so there's 25, and I think I'll just kind of tape this right over. But I just put the tape, so if you really wanted to see the rest of the letters, or the rest of the numbers, you could. And if you really wanted to see the rest of her, you could. But I think that's just fine. So now I'm going to do the little embellishments. And what I think I want to do is have kind of an embellishment line diagonally this way. So I haven't been really focusing too much on embellishing my December Daily, but it is fun to have some embellishments in your December Daily. So I would say not every page and not every day need a lot of embellishing, but some of the days, especially if you've got something that's already, like this page is pretty much already put together. I didn't have to do much to it. It's fun to put a little something, to add a little bit, because then it's visually interesting when you look at the book. But what I would caution against is spending all day long, like making it the most, awesome scrapbooking masterpiece that you've ever made. I don't think that's the best idea for December Daily. I think it's, just get it done is a really good way to go. This feels like a little bit too big. And so these can move around a little bit too, these ThermoWib. It allows for a little bit of like moving around. Not too much, but just a little bit. So I'm not the most naturally awesome embellisher I think that ever lived, but I think that doesn't go. But I'm all right. And so I think when you do embellish, it's good to have just a little plan as to, I'm gonna, the embellishments are gonna be clustered in this way or along a line or something like that, so you just don't get to where you're just embellishing all over the page. So what I've tried to do here is I have 3 pink hearts, so that's going to be like a visual triangle that kind of leads you to the subject, and then I also have this line of embellishments just kind of going up the page like, oh, like here we go, here's time is passing, and we're excited about Christmas, and it's almost here. So that's my theory there. And let me just see. I think that's good. I could add more, but I think that is just fine. So there's one page. And one of the tips I had on the paper clipping roundtable was use your family to help you tell the stories. And so this is the story of my, this is something that I probably need to do a story swoop for, is my in-laws are 93 and 89 years old. And so for most of their, they're the World War II generation, and for most of their lives, they got married when my mother-in-law was 17 and my father-in-law was 18. And, Pearl Harbor happened, and then they got married, and then he went to war for 4 years. And they actually got married in secret, and when he came back from the war, she had, while he was gone, she learned to be a pilot. And she earned enough money to buy them their first house. So when she came home, she was like, surprise, I bought us a house. And he also sent her, I guess, his checks in the mail, when, like, he had his checks for being in the war delivered to her. He was a Marine on the front lines in Guadalcanal in a tank. And so he used to have to dig a hole and then drive his tank over the hole, and he would sleep in the hole. Like, he was like really on the front lines. He was an amazing guy. But he was the boss. Like, when he got home from war, he was like, now you can't do your piloting thing anymore, because guess what? I'm the boss, and that's how it. It wasn't mean or anything. They had a wonderful, and they still have a wonderful relationship. They've been married for over 70 years now. But in those days, I'm just looking for a picture of them. The husband was really the boss of the family, and so now that he's getting forgetful, she's like, we've been watching her kind of take on more and more responsibility, and it's just been really interesting and fun to watch because she's asserting herself and making decisions. And so it seems like she's got this whole agenda with the house, and so she just put in new windows, and it's like she'll come over and she's got, oh, those are my old dogs. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's going to go on the picture to, like, part of the story of yesterday. That's part of it. But what I'm looking for, and I'm not doing a very good job of, is trying to find pictures of my in-laws. And I have a drawer just right next to me where I have a bunch of pictures handy, but that's not the best way to store photos. I have, okay, so here's more Halloween pictures. Crazy enough. This is my mother-in-law, and I think I'll use that, or maybe both of them. And then this is my father-in-law. And so I think I will take two kind of pictures that are oriented in the same direction. And I want to write a story, but I'm not going to do it right now. So even though these are, you know, pictures from October, they're the most recent and handy pictures that I have of my in-laws. So I'm going to use them, even though that seems like, what? Why are you using Halloween pictures in the Christmas album? It's fine. It's just fine. Okay, so what I think I will do is, this is going to be the, I think I'm going to put them this way. No, maybe, I don't know, maybe this way. And I think I'm just going to leave those two pictures kind of as is. That's the other reason I like an 8x8 album, is I can get two pictures going portrait-wise this way. Whereas if you had the 6x6 album, you'd have to cut them down, which arguably maybe I should do, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to cut them down a little bit vertically, not too much, because I actually do kind of want the surroundings in there, because I think in retrospect they're interesting. So I'll measure this. So some days you just have a million stories, and so yesterday I have a million stories about yesterday. Yesterday was a full day, and aren't most days do seem to be kind of full in I think I like it this way, because part of the story is she's coming out of the shadows, and so this kind of hides her, and then there she is. The other thing I think I'm going to do is just make the holes on this just slightly larger. And be careful when you use the Crop-A-Dile, because if you ever get your finger in between here, oh, watch out. That's never happened to me, but a friend of mine told me that happened to her, and it's apparently quite painful. So I'm always pretty careful to make sure that I don't do that. Okay, so I just need, this is just a regular piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I am just going to cut it to size. So I'm not actually going to use this number 10 yet. That's going to be on my next. Okay, so here's a tip. The tape really sticks hard because I cut out these letters, these numbers, and it sticks pretty hard to the page protector. It's not the end of the world, but anyways, what else can I tell you? Anyway, yeah, so I did get a comment saying, like, why don't you pre-plan these out, and that way, you know, I could watch them so much faster, because I don't have enough time to sit through all of your rambling. And that may be the case. In that case, I would say either find a video of mine that's shorter, and there are some that are shorter, or find somebody who's much, you know, who does pre-plan, because I really like the freedom of not planning these pages, and that's what's working for me in this, in getting my December daily done. And last year, I don't think I was very successful with it, and I don't think I was making videos, but in 2011, I made videos and I put them on Ustream, which is just a different video sharing format, so you could probably still see them on there. I'm not sure, because I think that they purged some of the videos. I haven't been over there in a kind of a while, but that's a place where you can watch scrapbook videos too. I know there's some people over there, some scrapbooking people, who do actually a lot of videos. Okay, so this is going to go here. I'm just getting an idea. I think I kind of want a big title on this page, and then I might have I think I'm going to do the story swoop, and then I will come back to this page and figure it out. So I don't usually do that, But there's a really good story here that I want to capture, and I don't have enough time this minute, but it's not a story that I'm going to forget. This is a story that's kind of been developing over the last couple of years with my father-in-law. Is just, not, his memory is going, and hasn't been diagnosed with anything, but he's probably in the medium stages of Alzheimer's. So, So anyways, Grammy is completely with it, and so she's just taking on more and more responsibilities of the house, and that's been really, it's been really fun to, it's hard to see him declining, but it's kind of nice to see her becoming more assertive, and it's I think it was hard for her at first, and now she's having, she's almost having fun with it. Like, hey, if I want a new garage door, I'm going to get one. And if I want to paint the house a different color, it's my, the first time in 70 years, it's going to be my turn to figure out what color house we want. So, and they live next door to us, so we're very close to them. Okay, so the next thing I have is a photo card from a friend of ours, and this is actually kind of a famous friend of ours, but I want to punch out their faces. That's something that I mentioned on the paper clipping roundtable, and Izzy Hyman was like, he thought I was gonna like punch their faces out so I could put my faces in. So I think what he thought is I would punch out all of these things and then put like pictures of us onto the card. That's not what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna what I want to do is punch out. And I can do that with this puncher thing. Or I think because some of these have a little frame around them and it's cute, I want to see if I can just hand cut this one. And so our friend got married, and his new wife, we went actually trick-or-treating with them a couple of years ago. They came over to the house, and she, my husband told him that I was a scrapbooker, and then she was like, oh, I'm a scrapbooker too. And then she said, because I have, what is that thing called? A Cricut. And she thought if you were going to be a scrapbooker, so this fits, not all of my squares on this grid are the same, so I just kind of like moved it around until I found one, and I think it's going to fit right there. And so, and I'm doing these as they come in, although I have a little stack of them at my office, so I need to bring those home, but instead of like waiting for them to pile up and then do at the end of the month, I'm just cutting them as I go, and then I'll just use the remainder of the card in my, like I've got a little basket where everybody can look through the cards. So they're either going to see the whole card or a little bit of the card in my house. It's okay. But there they are, and I think the other thing that I think might be a good idea, and I should have done it on my other page, is cut out their name, right? So I've got their name from the card, and I know what their name is now, but say it's 30 or 40 years from now, and I'm like, now who are they again? What I can do on the back is just put their name right on the back, and then I can even just, and I'm just making this up, as I'm just like tracing the grid. I can kind of see through it with a pencil onto the back of the page, and then I'll just write in the other people's names so that on the back I'll know who the heck those people were. Because you do forget. And my perfect example of that is I went to a small college called Eckerd College here in St. Petersburg, Florida. And, okay, so here's the story. So anyways, I ran into one of my classmates last night because she had this. She had Jessie. She's this girl from my college, she works for the rescue, or she's a volunteer for the rescue dogs. And we have been in the market for a dog because these were our two dogs, Duke and Dandy, and he was with us for 14 years, and Dandy was with us for 13 and a half years, and they were the loves of our lives. And we lost Duke about 2 years ago, and Dandy this past Valentine's Day, and there's just been like a whole, like this empty space in our hearts and our home. And oh, I love these dogs. So it's like it would have been our first Christmas without a dog, and so my biggest wish this Christmas has been for a dog. And somehow something sticky got onto here, which is not the point. But I need to trim that part off. Anyways, these are our Duke and Dandy, and those were our labs. And so the story of, I've got the Christmas countdown, then I've got the story of my mother-in-law, and I'm yet to write that. So here we are on the next page. And so I really think I want to just include these two photos, and then maybe I'll just do a story swoop on both sides of that page, because I'm not in the headspace right now to write those stories. But I do want to introduce Jessie. And so I keep singing two songs now. One is Jessie's Girl, like the Rick Springfield Jessie's Girl, and the other one is from the Disney show. It's like, hey Jessie, hey Jessie. It's about like I guess Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's babysitter. It's a weird show. It's about a babysitter, and she babysits for this rich family. The babysitter's name is Jessie. I probably should have used my paper trimmer for that. I'll do that on this page. So I think there's some sticky on here because we brought this over to show my in-laws, to introduce them to Jessie, because she doesn't come home until tomorrow. But we went to see our new dog. She's a rescue from Alabama. So I made this picture collage in Picasa, and they're kind of like poor quality pictures because I took them in low light with my point and shoot camera, and I was not so much paying attention to my picture taking as I was to getting to know the dog. But I'm a scrapbooker, so I take a lot of pictures. And then my mother-in-law was like, how did you get those printed up so fast? And I was like, that's pretty easy with I didn't say it, but my husband said, it's pretty easy when you use a computer. Because for all of my mother-in-law's newfound independence, she was really just not bonded with computers at all. She just wants nothing to do with them. And my father-in-law, before he had Alzheimer's, and even now, did bond with computers. So that's been kind of fun to watch. So I have... This was we met Jessie on Facebook. We really did. And it was really this picture of her face. She just looked like a happy dog. And she also kind of made us think of, like, she's kind of a combination of our two older dogs. So Duke was a black, he was our first dog, and we wanted a black dog. And then Dandy was like our second. He was like our happy accident kind of a dog. But Jessie seems like she's got the demeanor of Dandy and the looks of Duke. So we fell in love, and so we fell in love on Facebook. We went to go see her last night, and she was in the home of one of my classmates from Eckerd College. And so, okay, this is like the weirdest thing. If you thought vertical blinds was the weirdest thing going into my December daily, you're wrong. So we got out all the old dog supplies that we had kind of put away, and I got out their old brushes, and this is like Duke and Dandy hair in a little baggie. And I don't know, we're just that kind of crazy. So I think I'm going to this is not going to go on display. It's just going to go right in between. And it's kind of self-explanatory, but I think I'll just write Duke and Dandy fur. I don't know. I always think, like, with cloning technology, maybe someday we could clone our old dogs. Although we had a chance to buy a new dog. There were new puppies, at the same breeder where we got our dogs, and there were puppies that there were yellow lab puppies that were going to be available on December 26th. They would have met all of my requirements for let's get a dog for Christmas. But I don't know. I think we were kind of thinking like, let's do a rescue this time, and you know, it would be a good thing to do for the dogs, and also selfishly we could avoid the puppy stage, which puppies are awesome, but they take a lot of work. And when we had puppies before, we didn't have kids, and so we had a lot of time for puppies. But now that we have kids and 6th grade math homework, for God's sakes, we just don't have that much time. So, yeah. So, Jessie is already housebroken, and she's already, you know, all set to go. So, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to embellish the rest of this page, but I am going to do this page just like I did this one, and just put the 2 pictures down. And this is sort of what I call a half-baked page. And so this is a really simple half-baked page. This is where you just put the photos down and the background paper. So sometimes I'll use pattern paper or that kind of, you know, some more embellished page. Or maybe I'll have the title, but I won't have like the journaling and the embellishing. And I go back and do that. So I'm going to go back and do that for this page and also for this Goodbye to Duke and Dandy page, because I'm sure that I will, if I do the story swoop, I'll go in and I will write a story with the help of Debbie Hodge, and I will make myself cry, no doubt. And I really do want to tell a good, meaningful story about my mother-in-law. And then if I have to, you know, if I want to do the same bit as I did here with the journaling, I can just add in a page and then have it, I can rearrange these pages a little bit so it will work. But I'm not ready to put a title on this page or anything like that, because I'm just not exactly sure what I want that to be. And I don't want to hurry it, because like most of this album I want, you know, let's get this going together like as fast as we can. But not this page and not the other page about my mother-in-law, because those are meaningful stories that deserve a little more time and attention. So I will definitely come back to those. And then I'm sticking the Duke and Dandy fur in between. Ha! Okay, so now we're ready for Hey Jessie. And we met Jessie online on, I guess it was on the 9th, and then we went to see her yesterday, which was the 10th. So let me just cut this piece of paper. And so some days in December, there's going to be so many stories. And I think when I first started doing December Daily, I really thought you had to limit yourself to 1 page per day. And you don't. You can definitely do more than 1 page a day. And then I also, like, during the paper clipping roundtable, Noelle Hyman said that she was like, she does her December Daily, or her December project, sort of like a Project Life project, but she doesn't do it even every day. She lets a couple of days go by, and then she does it every couple of days. And she just does it when she has a story. And I think she said about December, but I could be wrong about that. I like to almost look at this like a week in the life and just tell whatever stories are coming. And so this is just a screenshot of the Facebook, excuse me, the Facebook ad about her. And oops. The other thing I'm going to do with my friends before I forget is I'm going to put their address on the back of that other, I don't want to show you their address, but I'm going to show their address to the world, but I'm going to put it on the back of that other sheet, so before I forget. going to add that to the back of that grid sheet. So see, I do go back. So on the 7th, we went to a dog fair to go to see if we could adopt a dog. And here we are. On the 10th, mission accomplished. We're going to go pick her up tomorrow. And this page, I kind of feel like I want to keep it pretty simple. And I almost think I have a couple of pictures. I'm so far from being done with this day because, so I have these photos. Oh, we got, like, they must have had a lot of schmutz going on over next door on their counter. But my son went to the orthodontist for a second, look, and then I printed out the description of Jessie from Facebook, and what I did was I did a screen capture, and then I cropped it down, and I printed these using Picasa, which is a free program from Google. So I could I kind of like the idea of having this one big picture and just writing her name underneath. And I also think that because of time constraints, and now I am at 41 minutes, which is apparently a little annoying to some YouTube viewers, or maybe more than some. But I do want to show you kind of how long things take. And so where did my little number go? I don't even know. I am the worst YouTuber ever. Okay, so I had a little number, the number 10, and I wanted to put it on this page, but I don't know where it went. I'm sure it'll turn up. Oh, I don't even have that much stuff on my desk. Oh well. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to include was I had all these notes for paper clipping, and so I'm just going to take my notes and put them in. And I did have like the image of the paper clipping logo, but I don't think that that's going to fit in. I think I'll just use this one. And my other thought was that it would be fun to do a print screen of all the YouTube videos I've been making. And so I think what I'll do is I will put those pictures on the opposite sides of these. And I think this is going to go like this. So these were my notes. And I'm going to put this in sort of like, I don't want to put it in the middle of the dog page, but maybe it'll go over here. Okay. So not everything has to go into a page protector. And this is not going to be one of the things that does not. Crocodile is your friend. But I've also gotten a lot of comments on YouTube that people like watching, in real time. And so I like making these in real time because it gives me that time pressure. And I also like making it because it shows you realistically what you can accomplish in a short amount of time. So, and it also shows you when I make mistakes and how, like, what I do to kind of fix that problem. So I'm not gonna, I'm pretty happy with the way that I'm making these videos. Now after December, what I will probably do is go back to making scrapbook process videos, and in those videos I think that it probably is useful to edit them up a bit, and I see the usefulness of that. I was pretty convinced that that was just the wrong way to do it, but I see, so these are this is a washi tape full of cameras, and that kind of relates to paper clipping. And so what my plan is I will print out a logo or something like that, or I have a picture that I put on Instagram of me with the headphones on. So I don't have my printer here, but that's what I envision going there. And let me just get a little bit of cute washi tape. I picked up a bunch of washi tape at the office supply store. And I like the idea of using it for kind of just like a reinforcer when I do these pages that don't have page protectors, just for the holes. So it doesn't, you know, the holes don't get, it's just a little extra there. A little extra to, so I'm thinking it's going to go, oops, just like this. I probably should have run that all the way around, but I didn't, so that's fine. So I think I'm gonna write paper clipping here and then the picture, and I will come back and like finish these on another video, but I am feeling like I got other things to do today besides December Daily, and so I'm filming this one in the morning. And yesterday it was just we had to drive like an hour to go see Jessie, our new dog. So I was just ready to just go to bed when we got home last night. But my one theory that I think is useful in, so I almost want to put this before Jessie, because I did, and everything doesn't have to be in order, but I think I'll do it like this. So there's the countdown to Christmas, and then my paper clipping episode pictures will go here, and then all of my notes, and I have these notes that I wrote before the show, and I'm just going to tuck those right in between these pages, and they may never be seen again, or they might be, who knows. And I honestly, I don't really care, because otherwise I'd probably just throw them away. Well, I'm a scrapbooker, I save everything, but that's a good place for them. So here we go with some different types of things. Now here's goodbye, Duke and Dandy, hello, hello Jessie, and then we also have a few more stories, and so I'm not really sure if I need to tell all of them today. When I have more pictures of Jessie, and so that's one thought. I still can't believe I lost that little, oh, here it is. I put it right on the, so I'm wondering if I should put it here. I don't think so. Maybe here. And that way I'll be able to write a little bit more. So my thought is I will bring this down to where I have my computer printer, and I'm probably going to type up most of the journaling for these last couple of pages that I made. And then here's my son, poor kid, looking slightly miserable. And he had an orthodontic appointment. But I do want to include that because, you know, he's going to be having braces, and from what I understand, that's going to be for the next 2 years. So I want to include that on the page. And so I printed up these 4 things in Picasa, and they have some pre-settings for their print. And the one complaint I have about, well, one of the complaints I have about Picasa is, and I really love it, I think it's a great program, it's a free program, how can you beat that? But one of the things, if I were to complain about it, would be to say that the print options aren't, like, I would like to be able to print, like, differently. I'd like to have more printing options. So if I had to change one thing about Picasa, it would be the format that you can use for printing. But you can solve a lot of those printing issues by using their collage function, which I use for this page. So you can do a lot to, oops, so that's down. Yeah, that's why you want to know your adhesives. So I was going to move that, and I'm not going to. And it is where it is. And so I'm just going to use the back side of these notes for this page here. I have all sorts of beautiful pattern papers very close by, but at this point I'm really just, I want to get done. So I'm just going with white cardstock, and that would be a major tip that I would have for scrapbookers, is if you don't have a good supply of white cardstock, you should get it, because white cardstock as a background is exceptionally trendy right now. But also, it's just a good idea to have a lot of white cardstock handy. It makes your scrapbooking life a lot easier. So if I were going to have a choice between buying the newest, trendiest, like, new pattern paper or a whole bunch of white cardstock, I would recommend buy the white cardstock, because chances are you already have tons of scrapbooking paper and supplies and everything else that you don't necessarily, that may never get to you. Even if you scrapbook a lot like me, like I still have so much that I never get to in terms of scrapbooking products. But you know what goes fast? White cardstock. Oh, there's just like something bled all the way through. I think my father-in-law was like eating a cinnamon muffin or something like that. And it got everywhere. Okay, so there's Jessie, and that was from the Facebook. And so I can just move these around just a little bit. And then here's her description. I'm just wondering if I can, like, I think I could have arranged this page better. But it's, it is what it is, and it's down. So I might put that description over somewhere else. I also do Project Life, but it's not something I keep up with on a daily basis. And there I'm covering up the pictures of me, but I guess it's okay. Get one picture of me there. What was I saying? I feel all self-conscious because of the comment that I got, and so I really do. Like, if you're looking for something more condensed, like, you won't hurt my feelings if you don't watch. But I do like the comments though, because I'll tell you this. Even the negative comments, because in terms of negative comments, I've gotten constructive negative comments. So I started making videos about our family after listening to the Paper Clipping Roundtable about video scrapbooking, and I got a lot of comments like, oh, and I also got a lot of unsubscribes, and that really was a clear message that this is not what is wanted on this channel, and that is totally, like, that's fine, I totally get it. And so this is, I don't know how I'm gonna include this with the way that I've laid it out, but it's kind of already done. And so I think what I will do is I'm just going to do this same little trick of, I'll just tape that to the back. If I want to use it some other time, it's there, but otherwise, and it's still on Facebook, I can still print it out. But I like to print out things that are online, because you just really don't know how long they're going to be online. You really don't. I mean, it's, seriously, don't trust that all of your online stuff is going to be there forever, because it's probably not. Just like the Ustream, that, like, sometimes they are like, hey, we got too much stuff going on over here. So just one piece of washi tape goes a long way. And because this is kind of running along, I think I am going to cut it short and add in journaling later, but I will do that tonight. So I'm not going to let it go forever. And then I have this one more page about my son, and I think I'll see. I'm just going to tuck it in there and I'm going to call it a day. So this is my December daily album so far. Got all my numbers already cut out and punched. I've got the photos printed, and I'm doing the mortal sin of what I said I didn't like about my old December dailies is there wasn't enough journaling, but I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 pages today, so 7 pages in 55 minutes. I didn't get them all done, but they're not that far from being done, and I will finish them within the day, and I'm going to add some meaningful stories. So I'm going to bring this book with me, and when I go to my computer, I will be able to go to Story Swoop and finish the stories for yesterday. And something tells me that I'm going to have a lot more days this month with a lot more stories. But this is where I am as far as this is December 11th. So there's still a lot of like high action Christmas stuff coming, but I'm still doing pretty well on how big the book is. So thank you for watching. Sorry I ramble so long, but for those of you who enjoy the ramble, welcome. And for those of you who don't, really check out some of the videos that are condensed. So I would recommend 2 Peas in a Bucket. They, will fast forward their videos. Mercy Tierra is another one who makes some really great process videos, and she speeds them up, and then she does the talk over at the end. My only concern with that is I don't want to have to do it twice. So this is a little selfish, but it's also to show you what I can actually get done in the actual amount of time. So there you go. Okay, thank you for watching or listening or not. I am Katie Scott, and my blog is called Kiss and Tell Scrapbooking.